0. But you scratched 0.
Okay. See, what I wrote in 2 words is the same thing he wrote in 3. So, you know.
You got 1 more minute.
That's your face.
What's your opinion then? What? You just want to be like the kids and write homework.
They're off this medicine today. Oh my gosh, he would not stop getting my pen out of the cup. He just kept going back and getting it. I said, Devin, put it back. Okay. Then I like go do something. He'd be right back where. Oh my God. I told her, don't send
He was
it
so
to me.
happy when he came out. I'm surprised you left his meds. He's really mad when he left his meds, I feel like.
Well, he sat with me all day, so he didn't have anybody to bother.
I had to make Wanda redo her number stories because she used a Sharpie. So when she flipped it over, it was on the back. I was like,
I'm really over this trend here of like bringing markers from home.
Oh, they don't give you stuff.
No, they're not supposed to, but they try to every single day. I'm like, put the marker away. You know you can use that. All right, let's share out. So one thing that I'm thinking is homework. Because this is like a pretty easy skill for parents to get into, and also something that I think like if we it's kind of like sight words, where it's like the more that we communicate to parents like how important it is, the more parents get into it. And so I think like having like timed passages in homework, or having like a chart that they can fill out, like you read like this is like your literacy homework tonight, and tomorrow night is like you read this passage and see like how fast you can read it after like 4 times. And having them do those like repeated reading sheets is like a good way to get kids into it too. What else are we thinking about?
I said, like Mercedes was saying earlier, letting them sound out for themselves instead of telling them, because I noticed they are more likely to remember it if they figure it out versus somebody telling them.
Yep.
Like I put confidence, so like it's kind of the same thing, like letting them do it themselves so they know that they know it.
Yep, absolutely. And then what are some things you guys can do? So I think that that's a big thing. And having them, like almost prompting them in like the same way in Storybook that people prompt over here in guided reading. So thinking about like reading through the whole word and things like that. What are some things that you guys think you can do during Storybook time to think about like, to get them ready for like a timed assessment?
I've been timing them, and Storybook. I'll have them like all read a page together and then reread it.
That's awesome.
That's what I said, we read the stories.
Yeah. And do you track their time?
No, I haven't been like recording it or anything. I'll like put it on the board.
Yeah.
But,
I think I would like put it on the board and see if they can beat it the next day.
I'll put it. Yeah, the next day. I have been erasing it, but yeah, they've been like trying to beat it within that setting. So.
Yeah, I think I would. I
Oh,
think
what
like
she's
keeping it
doing.
on the board and having them like try to beat it.
And
the next
I've
day is
noticed that like I have.
because they love that. They'll
It's
get
like
really into that.
a lot easier to do just like one page. Like I was at first doing a whole story, and it was like taking too long. So I've been doing one page now, and it's like a lot better.
What else are we thinking?
Something I do during guided reading is kind of like if you go back into like the lower steps, like after we read a page. Well, I only really do this in my college, but like after we finish reading the page, like I'll ask them, I'll say like which word is like the words that they struggled on. Like I'll make them go back and like point at that word. Like they all have to point like which word is there, which word is tomorrow. Like going back and like identifying those words and like making sure having them reread it again. But they know, like, in guided reading, like, that's all we did this week was, like, if anyone messed up, like, when we read it, like, as a group, reread it again. Like, I told them, I don't care if you're frustrated. Like, they need to get better. You need to get better. Like, just constantly rereading it to the point of frustration that I don't get about it.
And I like if they read a sentence like super slow or they're like missing their periods or something. I'll like read it out and then I'll just like have them read it like I read it.
Yeah. Like modeling. It's not really even like.
So they just like get the flow of the sentence.
No, we were just talking about her before you guys came in. I really like. It's almost not like the phrasing piece of it. I feel like they're struggling with. Like there are a few kids that I've noticed in like read really chunkily, but it's not like. Yeah, like Halo phrases. She just phrases really weird.
Hey,
I know.
down.
Like she like
I'll
she
chill.
scoops. It's just her scoops are like bizarre.
You have to
Like
talk
that really
this.
weird.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like she.
But
Like Malachi reads like word by word.
He reads horribly. Like I don't, and it be so loud. And hey, sit down. Who's Malachi?
Yeah,
Why you get so loud?
Malachi's the one that I've noticed reads really word by word, but it's not like most kids that are struggling with rate. I don't think are struggling with like the scooping of it. I think it really is. It's like the decoding for a lot of them is slowing them down, and then like just like
The flow
you just gotta
of
read
it.
faster. Yeah, like because like I think about like Jacoby or like Kalia, like they phrase when they read. It's just like they're stopping to word solve like a little too frequently, and they need to like remember to pick their speed back up when they're not reading. Mercedes, what did you share out? What do you have on your paper?
Sorry, I skipped you.
Reading races with a clear goal. Guided reading for groups. Obviously, sentences and homework. Sentence strips like your little vocabulary planners and homework. Progress chart with weekly check-ins. I feel good just so they can see. Even if it's just a little bar graph that moves, like you have that end goal of the time for whatever specific story you're focusing on, and then by the end of the week or whatever they need to hit the end of that, and then obviously what we did for sight words, our sight word champ, our reading champ. That's always fun. That gets them excited about it. So just a little or ribbon.
I think fluency checks are a really good idea, and was gonna suggest that too at the end that we start checking in with fluency for these guys.
I think a lot of kids. I mean, I've seen a lot of kids not doing their homework, and I think that, like AJ, poet child, she'll never learn because she don't do homework. She don't do nothing. And I asked her like, why don't you do your homework? She was like, 'cause my mama don't make it.
That's
I said, well, how about you do it on your own because you know it's supposed to be done. But she has other siblings.
I think she got other stuff to do.
Oh, well, maybe we can get her clothes together. For
like
the
lyric.
next day.
La-di-da-di-da.
Yeah, she was just, so I said, where's
Lyric.
your book bag?
She came down the hallway after me and Kim goes, where's your book bag? Well, I don't have it. She's like, oh, so you didn't come to work today, huh?
Not at all. She came down.
Yeah, I think that's the most frustrating part is that we can, how to get parents so involved to get
And
their
it's-
kids up.
I mean, it's
trying
always
to figure
gonna
that
be
out.
like there's always gonna be some parents that are like really awesome about it, and some parents that like aren't. But I think at least like the more that we can try.
Yeah,
like,
we know that
I
we're
think-
doing as much as.
Exactly, and like just and letting kids in guided reading know too. Like, if you want to like especially I think like tracking is a really good idea, and I think we should commit to like once a week. We track these guys and like give them some hard feedback on like if they're meeting their time or not. And I think like letting them know like
It's not for you.
you
boys.
get these at home, like you get these at home with you, and the more you practice at home, like the more likely you're gonna meet your target here. Because the same thing for
So-
sight words, like we've had a lot more kids pass sight words because like they know every Friday, like they move their thing.
How are we doing in sight words? Alvin?
We're doing better. I think like since I've started paying more attention to it. I like sent some home and just for the kids that are like our bubble. Especially for roads. Like you guys are pretty good, but there's still some that need.
Yeah, I know. Like when you send them home, like
You're
Jahar
welcome.
came
But
back.
like, yeah, a lot of students were coming back were like, my mom wants more sight words.
Yeah,
like, can
yeah,
you
that's exactly
give
what
me
I
some
got
more
too.
sight words? And so I think they've been trying to
I'll
work
make some
on
new
it.
sites.
That's what Chase
So-
is doing. Is
And like we
Chase
moved
doing
up
better?
a lot.
Who? Yeah. Well, what I would like to
Their
know.
parents, I mean, their parents must be working with them because he was probably on the level with IJ, but he had flew past her.
So what should we? I'm thinking the weekly check-in.
Mm-hmm.
There's a DNA test quiz for every step
Mm-hmm.
at the end of every week.
Oh, you're right. We could just use the ones from the.
Yeah, but are those going to be switched up every week,
Well, when
or
we
do we
wrote
want to stick
those.
to just?
So-
Well, we can't stick to one because then they might just start memorizing it. And then
Yeah, when I
so-
wrote those, originally what we did was like we had them looking at the same text because it was a fluency thing,
Mhm.
because we wanted them to like do repeated readings. So I'm pretty sure for the step 6 one, like it's the same text for a couple weeks and then it switches to a different text a couple weeks in. But yeah, that's a great idea because like we already have those assessments built out, so we could just pull that and
Every
just have them do
Friday,
like a quick.
if we're already pulling first, rotations is probably choppy. I hope in your classes like it is in mine on Fridays.
Well, it's just hard on Fridays because like we have rotations in the morning. So
yeah,
it's
that's
like
like
we
it's
don't
opposite
have,
for us, and she
yeah.
pulls for sight words. So maybe we'll just start doing that, doing the fluency checks on Fridays with the texts from
Yeah, I think that's a great
the
idea.
whatever they're called.
I think that's awesome.
Good team. He's mean to me.
All right,
Awesome.
Elena, do you have anything you want to add?
No, the only thing I had was like rereading text. I was just wondering, I guess this is more of a question, like during guided reading, instead of like reading the book just for one day, could I have them read the same book the next day?
Yeah, and I think for this, like this text level, it's probably going to take you 2 days to get through a text. Or
Right.
it should.
Because I just want to be able to like hear them read it for the first time and then hear it again, hear them read it again.
Mhm.
Well, and I guess if we're at the top of their step level, like at the, like what are we in right now? Like ambiance or excellence?
This
I
is
guess the
excellence.
excellence.
This is excellent.
Usually
so these are
I
the-
still listen to them read.
Yeah.
Serious question.
Yeah.
No, I can chunk out 30 minutes for like we've hit that point for the most part where we can get 30 minutes in for just about every group. I cannot get my kids to go through a text in 15 minutes. Like all of them.
No, I would say College Club's probably the only group that can get through a text every
Because
day.
their books are so short.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, even like
Okay.
like step 5 is probably the last step where I would say you can get through a text in one day. Because even with this group, like it almost makes more sense to do it in 2 days because then you have like a out loud reading and a silent reading.
Well, because
so it mimics the step
okay.
test.
even if they get done with reading the book, there's no time to like ask them
Yeah.
comprehension
Well,
questions or anything.
Not
like
even
that.
that. It's just getting the because I was trying to do the 2 groups and it hasn't been working trying to get both of them in because like my first group will take 20 minutes to read the book and then I'm not gonna pull
Yeah.
10 minutes.
No, I would say probably like at least 2 days for a step 6 book, and sometimes with like step 6 and step 7, it's PDs and
Yeah.
so step 6 and step 7 I would take 2 days for, and sometimes with step 8 books like I would take 3 days. It kind of depends on how long.
Step
the text
8, they don't
is.
see me. Go to your desk, read this book. You need a post-it note to help you with a word or a word
Yeah.
you don't know. Write it down. Come and find me later.
Great. So one other thing before we break, because I know we have PD in a minute. So I think like having like weekly fluency checks is great. We can, I think like we can do that as like a quick hit in data meetings of just like quickly checking in like, okay, how are our kids that are like on about to DNA 6? And we could do the 5s too, so that we can get, because those are the kids that we really need to like try to get over the bubble. So we can do a quick check with them too.
DNA 5.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the DNA 5s.
I have a
Because
couple
if we're
that
not and like the comp looked pretty strong. Like there's a few specific things that they're struggling with, but there were not that many kids that DNA'd because of comp. So that's good because I mean like that's like usually that's the hardest thing to fix. So like if that's going well, that's great. But if we're not asking comp questions, I think we should be able to easily get through like 5s and 6s in the time for like in a block for rotations. The other thing that I was thinking about, and this is, like, I would have to talk to Satara about this because I haven't had a chance to do this yet, but we used to do cyber challenges. Do you remember that? And having, like, I think that would be a great thing for us to start again now that we're having community meeting.